Good morning, everyone. It's very, very early here, but I'm back on grandma duty today, so I have to make this early. So there's something that came up. Right? So the only place, except for checking out videos to cook with on YouTube, right? I have a Facebook page, and the newest thing now, it's always interesting on what happens there too, really, when it comes down to it, is that I guess in the way that it seems like now they have AI fact checkers or the AI word police or something, and you can't. I put in. There was a post of a friend's that came up about, what was it about? Oh, the voting. And we've got voting coming up, yeah, for the president again. And really, when it comes down to it, I don't think people even need to go to the polls. I'm not kidding. They're going to do whatever they want. There is no way that I will believe that the people are actually going to elect our president in this country. No way. They've already got this rigged, this and that. And I was talking about the movie 2000 Mules in a comment to someone. I said, well, you know what? Just go and check out this movie. It's really interesting on how they cheat. Yes, I couldn't post a comment. It wouldn't let me and it said, oh, it's because of the word mules. You got to be kidding me. Because of the word mules? What are mules? All right, they're pack animals. And I've seen some posts where people said, hey, by the way, did you guys notice they won't let you post your comments. They won't let you do this or that. And in a weird way. And I was, I've never come across that. I did shortly after, a few days after. And again, people are saying, oh, what's going on now? They're controlling us again. Don't look at it that way. I look at it. I went in and I said, oh. I said, well, some of my comments now, I can't put it in because of regular words. I guess they're not now against animals or something, right? And had nothing to do, how does I say, it was just the word mules. And I went, yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Make some sense when you're doing this, yeah. And and I went in on another. I think it was maybe it was the same or another one. I said, well, if Facebook keeps doing this, and I have no doubt that if the people can't communicate with each other anymore and kind of comment, people are going to lose interest in Facebook, and it's going to go down really fast. It's going to go out of business. So I said, that probably is a good thing. So who cares, right? It's called shooting yourself in your own foot, right? Yes? And since I know that now, I can word things differently. I'm a very intelligent, smart person, and I have a good vocabulary. I can use other words and get around whatever someone programmed, right? Yes? And suddenly, okay, so this is an election post. So I'm assuming that's the big thing. And I've not seen it on any other posts except for, okay, election posts where, oh, the people aren't allowed to comment in a certain way. In what way exactly? Because there was not one foul word in there. There was, on the picture, nobody was exposed or naked. Okay, just saying. So it's interesting again to me on how, what are you trying to control me on how I'm getting the information out there that, hey, look, if you guys think or believe that this election will be any different than the one we had 4 years ago, okay, where there were plenty of people cheating and getting paid to cheat, then you're dreaming. You're in a dream somewhere and you need to awake. You need to awake, not to just laugh about it and go, Why do you guys even bother? Why am I taking the time to go to the polls, taking a day off, this and that? Because it's in the middle of the week. It can't be done even on the weekend, which I personally think would be much better. But okay, whatever. Or have 2 days, one on the weekend, during the week, where people don't have to take off from work. I'm just saying, right? Even that to me is ridiculous, right? Yes? And I've mentioned in the comment, as I said, 2,000 Mules. It's by Dimash Dezaza or something like that. Yeah, something. And it's a great movie. I thought it was really informative. I watched the whole one, and that means something. I go, wow, yeah, I could see that. And they have proof. They have proof. They have evidence, and they have proof. Then I watched another video of a guy, and he said that he invented some kind of a program where you could run every ballot within a short amount, millions of ballots in a short amount of time. I mean, really short amount of time. I think he said 5 minutes for so many millions of. Okay, I'm not sure if, but it wouldn't take that long, considering how long it takes for people to just doing this by hand still. This is where. But the thing is that there are fake ballots out there, right? And they got the stamp and everything. And this computer or this program, this machine, to run all the ballots through, just suckity, 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 suck, will weed those out. Nobody's interested. So, if in this country we can't even get our parties to agree that, yeah, let's put everything in place to make sure that the cheating doesn't happen, right? If they can't agree on that, then you have to wonder, they're both cheating, aren't they? Both sides somehow trying to cheat. Well, one party can't get anything through without the agreement of the other party, which, what? I'm getting, it's just like, blows my mind on how these things work. But then it blows my mind what I'm reading in here in the Bible, right? Yes? Yeah. Things haven't started just in the last 100 years where we're starting to have more technology or this or that. This stuff's been going on for thousands of years. Okay? How about Judas Maccabees, Judas, Matthias' son? He wasn't supposed to be in charge. Who was supposed to be in charge? Simon got just woven it out. I'm just saying, right? Yeah. So let them do what they're gonna do, and the best thing. I talked about water yesterday. Have some good water, and have a little vegetable garden. Yes, just get a couple of chickens. I'd have to divide one egg between 4 people, but hey, it's better than nothing. Yes? And what's there? If AIs now are programmed, or as I said, fact checkers immediately after I post that comment with the 2,000 mules, and mules comes up as that goes against our public guidelines. Mules? Since when? What does that have to do with any of Facebook's guidelines? Okay, so so it's not a fact checker like a real person like me. They can't do that in seconds. I mean, immediately. No, it's a program where an AI, I guess, or just a program, artificial intelligence. What's a programmed something or a program have to do with being intelligent, artificial intelligence? It's still programmed by whom? And obviously, in a really weird way. That has to tell you that was a human who did it, who programmed it, and then it comes up, okay, but again, Facebook wants to go out of business. For one reason or another, that's the best way to do it. I already spend very, very little time on Facebook. I used to spend way more time on Facebook, but I spent very, very little time on it. It's only there to, oh, look, my friend's doing this and that, and I have very few friends on Facebook. And considering others who have thousands, which again, I've said this before, how do you keep up with everybody, right? Is this just about how many friends you can have? Who has the most? Just saying. So how, right? For me, it's just a tool to, oh, nice to, oh, that's what you're doing. Huh? Yes. And like the post and go in. And I like the funny stuff. So, but I don't need it. Not really. So if they want to, or I'm intelligent enough to word something differently and it means the same thing that, yeah, the program won't pick up. I don't know. So, amazing. Uh, Came across one post which, was also publicly out there, or whoever posted it, and the guy was cussing and cursing, and while he was explaining something that was kind of interesting, but I turned it off and went, I'm not listening to this guy cuss and curse. That wasn't, no problem with the F word. No problem with the MF word. No problem with the GD word. No problem at all. That all goes through. Just saying. Oh, yeah. The first thing, I'm not kidding. Now, as an adult, the first thing that you learn, mostly, when you learn another language, is the foul stuff. You'd be amazed. You'll be amazed, right? On how quick you learn all them cuss and swear words. Yeah, in another language. That's one of the first things that you learn. Yeah. So, I guess it's the same for the AIs. They learned that first and going, oh no, these words are all good, but you got to put mules on there. That goes against the guidelines of Facebook. All right. I can't help it, you guys. This is just so silly. Anywho, so stay home on voting day. No, I'm not going to encourage people to go and vote. I'm not going. Well, I can't anyway. So what do I have to say about it? I just watch it from afar. And and just be amazed again. Yes. So and here to me, and people ask me, this is my standard answer now. So are you a Republican or a Democrat? I'm going, I am neither. I am nothing until they learn to work together. I'm not going to support either. They need to learn to work together and be united, because this isn't about themselves. This is about the rest of the country, the people in the country, and the welfare of the people. Yes? And they need to stop. Okay, I'm done. I'm not saying another word. Let's go to the second book of Maccabees. 12. Incidents at Joppa and Jamnia. These agreements once concluded, Lysias returned to the king, and the Jews went back to their farming. Oh, that's good. Among the local generals, Timotheus and Apollonius, son of Gennaeus, as also Hieronymus, and Timophon and Nicanor, the Cypriarch, as well, would not allow the Jews to live in peace and quiet. Of course not. My gosh, people going back to farming? What the heck are all these generals going to do? They're going to be out of a job? Ugh, that would be too bad. The people of Joppa committed a particularly wicked crime. The people of Joppa. Now we're pulling the people into what? They invited the Jews living among them to go aboard some boats they had lying ready, taking their wives and children. There was no hint of any intention to harm them. There had been a public vote by the citizens, and the Jews accepted as well they might, being peaceable people with no reason to suspect anything. Now, wait a minute. The Jews must be living all over the place now, which obviously is not a good thing. And again, I'm thinking maybe this was why God also said, do not associate with the people around you, with other tribes outside of Israel. You need to stick together. And here they're all over the place. Didn't that king says, okay, go back. You have the Xanthicus, whatever festival or day that was there or whatever. You go back. This is your chance to go back, right, to your own land. Why did they not do that? And here is a consequence again of not having done that. Not taking the chance to say, we got to get out of here. We got to go home. We got to go and unite. Aha, right there. But once out in the open sea, they were all sent to the bottom, a company of at least 200. Man, seriously? Ugh. And why? Why were the people of Joppa doing this? Why? Well, for what? It doesn't tell us. All it just tells us what they did to Jews again. But we're not being told why they did that. Why did they feel like they couldn't live together? Were the Jews so disagreeable to live with? It doesn't tell us. When Judas heard of the cruel fate of his countrymen, he issued his orders to his men, and after invoking God, the just judge, he attacked his brother's murderers. Okay. Undercover. The guy doesn't know anything else either. Why didn't he just go and say, you guys need to come home now? Why? After things were over. What is it? These agreements once concluded, Lysias returned to the king, and the Jews went back to their farming. Why did Judas not make it then his calling to go and bring everybody home? Don't stay there. There's probably going to be more conflict. You need to come home. No. Hey, did you hear what happened in Joppa? Mm-hmm. Let's pick up our arms again. I could, you know what? I'm almost feeling the glee going on at that time. And Judas says, yeah, we're not done yet. Cool. What other reason is there for people to continuously war with each other, even now? Why is there a reason to do that? What reason is there? Except for that's all they know. Conflict is a way of life, believe it or not, and already was at that time for some people. That's it. Doesn't tell us. Why did the people of Joppa do that? Under cover of dark, he set fire to the port, burnt the boats, and put to the sword everyone who had taken refuge there. As the town gates were closed, he withdrew, intending to come back and wipe out the whole community of Joppa. Okay, the people at the boats, who were they? The ones that also had taken them out, so they lived there. So he just killed everybody that he could. But the town gates were closed, so he couldn't get in. Okay, you know what? Freaking sick. But hearing that the people of Jamnia, as the town gates were closed, he withdrew, intending to come back and wipe out the whole community of Joppa. But hearing that the people of Jamnia were planning to treat their resident Jews in the same way, he made a night attack on the Jamnites and fired the port with its fleet. The glow of the flames was seen as far off as Jerusalem, 30 miles away. Now wait, so that was only 30 miles away? It was only 30 miles away from Jerusalem. So Joppa and Jamnia, were they a part of Israel? Then why are these other people still there? Okay, just get so unhappy. Okay, there's something not quite right here. Also, he heard that Jamnia was going to do the same thing, but they hadn't. Yet he went anyway and slaughtered everybody. Well, now, wait a minute. How is that any different than what the people of Joppa just did? Oh, he prevented. Did he? Did he have the right information? Was Jamnia really going to do what Joppa did? We don't know, do we? You know what? The expedition in Gilead. Oh, here's another expedition going on. When they had left the town barely a mile behind them in their advance on Timotheus. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Judas was attacked by an Arab force of at least 5,000 foot soldiers with 500 cavalry. Arab force? Where the heck did they come in? What beef did they have with the Jews now? A fierce engagement followed, and with God's help, Judas's men won the day. Oh. The defeated nomads begged Judas to offer them the right hand of friendship and promised to surrender their herds and make themselves generally useful to him. Why not just do this from the beginning? What is the deal here? And why are they there? Nomads. Okay, nomads. What does it mean to be a nomad? Right? Yes? Well, the same as the Israelites were at one point. Tables just turned here. So here's an Arab force. That, okay, they were nomads. Okay, what are you now? Was it military, armies, or were they nomads? That means women and children, the moving village. What is it? Which one is it? Because it makes a difference. Because in this Arab force, who were nomads, who moved their villages around from place to place, sound like what now? And what is Judas doing? Was it really the Arab force that attacked them first? If they're nomads with their women and children, and then here they are, oh, the herds, they have herds with them. Okay, well, you do that anyway, and I guess at that time, that's what people would feed the army and stuff. But immediately after they're losing, which, as I said, who attacked whom here? Is this written down properly? They're willing to hand over the herds, this, that, and be useful to Judas. Really? Why didn't they flee? Go someplace else? Because the women and children are there, pregnant ladies who may be giving birth any day, and this, and they couldn't just leave. And just saying, all their possessions were there. You know what? Yeah, all right. However anybody wants to read this. Oh, maybe it was all written down wrong. Right. To whose benefit? Exactly. Man, boy, am I fired up today. Yes, I am. Realizing that they might indeed prove valuable in many ways, Judas consented to make peace with them, and after an exchange of pledges, the Arabs withdrew to their tents. Judas also attacked a certain fortified town, closed by ramparts and inhabited by a medley of races. Its name was Caspon. Confident in the strength of their walls and their stock of provisions, they besieged, adopted an insolent... Oh, okay. The besieged adopted an insolent attitude to Judas and his men, reinforcing their insults with blasphemies and profanity. I do not believe that. That's just another excuse that Judas needed, and goes, hey, you know what they are? I don't believe that. I'm not believing this anymore. I think Judas is the bad guy here. But Judas and his men invoked the great sovereign of the world, there we go, who without battering ram or siege engine had overthrown Jericho in the days of Joshua. They then made a fierce assault on the wall. By God's will, having captured the town, they made such indescribable slaughter that the nearby lake, a quarter of a mile across, seemed filled to overflowing with blood. By God's will. Yes, okay, gotcha. The Battle of the Carnaim. 95 miles further on from there, they reached the Carax, in a country of Jews known as Tubians. They did not find Timotheus himself in that neighborhood. He had already left the district, having achieved nothing apart from leaving a very strong garrison at one point. Dositheus and Sosipater, two of the Maccabean generals, marched out and destroyed the force Timotheus had left behind in the fortress, amounting to more than 10,000 men. Maccabees himself divided his army into cohorts, to which he assigned commanders, and then hurried in pursuit of Timotheus, whose troops numbered 120,000 infantry and 2,500 cavalry. Timotheus' first move on learning of Judah's advance was to send away the women and children and the rest of the baggage train to the place called the Carnaim, since it was an impregnable position, difficult of access owing to the narrowness of all the approaches. Judah's cohort came into sight first. The enemy, seized with fright and panic-stricken by the manifestation of the all-seeing, began to flee, one running this way, one running that, often wounding one another in consequence and running on the points of one another's swords. Judas pursued them with a will, cutting the sinners to pieces and killing something like 30,000 men. Timotheus himself, having fallen into the hands of Dositheus and Sosipater and their men, very craftily pleaded with them to let him go with his life, on the grounds that he had the relatives and even the brothers of many of them in his power, and that these could otherwise expect short shrift. Short shrift. The heck does that mean? Short shrift? Shrift? I gotta go check out what it means. Shrift? Short shrift. I know, a short life or something. When at long last he convinced them that he would honor his promise and return these people safe and sound, they let him go for the sake of saving their brothers. Reaching the Carnaim and the Antargation, Judas slaughtered 25,000 men. All right. Man, what a serial killer. The return by way of Ephron and Scythopolis. Having defeated and destroyed them, he led his army against Ephron, a fortified town, where Lysanias was living. Stalwart young men drawn up outside the walls offered vigorous resistance, while inside there were quantities of war engines and missiles in reserve. But the Jews, having invoked this sovereign, who by his power shatters enemies' defenses, gained control of the town and cut down nearly 25,000 of the people inside. Moving off from there, they pressed on to Scythopolis, 75 miles from Jerusalem. But as the Jews who had settled there assured Judas that the people of Scythopolis had always treated them well and had been particularly kind to them when times were at their worst, he and his men thanked them and urged them to extend the same friendship to his race in the future. Huh? That's a weird one. Isn't he a Jew too? They reached Jerusalem shortly before the Feast of Weeks. The campaign against Gorgias. After Pentecost, as it is called, they marched against Gorgias, the general commanding Idumaea. He came out of the head of 3,000 infantry and 400 cavalry. In the course of the ensuing battle, a few Jews lost their lives. A man called Dositheus, a horseman of the Tubian continent, a valiant man, overpowered Gorgias and, gripping him by the cloak, was forcibly dragging him along, intending to take the accursed man alive, but one of the Thracian cavalry, hurling himself on Dositheus, slashed his shoulder, and Gorgias escaped to Marissa. Meanwhile, since Esdras and his men had been fighting for a long time and were exhausted, Judas called on the Lord to show himself their ally and leader in battle. Then, chanting the battle cry and hymns at the top of his voice in his ancestral tongue, by a surprise attack he routed Gorgias' troops. All right, there we go. Amazing again, the little part where, that one guy drags the other guy, and then he's going by another guy and gets slashed, and it's all there. The names, the everything, even the one that... Okay. Right? Yeah. Interesting. So detailed. That part. The sacrifice for the fallen. Judas then rallied his army and moved on to the town of Adullam, where, as it was the 7th day of the week, they purified themselves according to custom and kept the Sabbath. Next day they came to find Judas, since the necessity was by now urgent, to have the bodies of the fallen taken up and laid to rest among their relatives in their ancestral tombs. But when they found on each of the dead men under their tunics objects dedicated to the idols of Jamnia, which the law prohibits to Jews, it became clear to everyone that this was why these men had lost their lives. All then blessed the ways of the Lord, the upright judge who brings hidden things to light, and gave themselves to prayer, begging that the sin committed by might be completely forgiven. Next, the valiant Judas urged the soldiers to keep themselves free from all sin, having seen with their own eyes the effects of the sin of those who had fallen. After this, he took a collection from them individually, amounting to nearly 2,000 drachmas, and sent it to Jerusalem to have a sacrifice for sin offered, an action altogether fine and noble, prompted by his belief in the resurrection. What resurrection? For had he not expected the fallen to rise again, it would have been superfluous and foolish to pray for the dead. Whereas, if he had in view the splendid recompense reserved for those who make a pious end, the thought was holy and devout. The way they're trying to explain this on how this was all right and good to do. All right, you got me. Yes. Hence he had his expiatory sacrifice offered for the dead, so that they might be released from their sin. Oh, that was the end of 12. Okay, there you go. Oh, I'm going to say to the end of this here, beware when you follow the will of man, rather than the will of God. And I would say that in this passage of 12 here, there will be many people out there who, because it is in the Bible, because God is being pulled into it, will see it as righteous to and necessary to do as they did. And then, in order to make the slaughter okay, and of course all the people who have sacrificed on their own side their lives for, of course, the better of something else, which I'm not seeing, neither here nor there, one, then makes some kind of an offering. Yes? Yeah. You think it's working? Has it been working? If that were the truth, if that were God's will, for people to do what Judas did here now, regardless what reason he had, excuses he made, wouldn't things look different today? Wouldn't, under God's guidance, if that was God's guidance, wouldn't have things righted themselves by now? Peace would reign? Right. I think that the will of man is very, very palatable, easy to swallow for many people. Anywho, that's all I have to give this morning. Done. 34 minutes, not bad. We're making our way through it. That's the important part, right? Yes? Okay. The important part. I find it interesting on how many of these things are just kind of going hand in hand. Yes? And what's going on in the world right now in so many different areas as well. So when we think what we're being given here in the second book of Maccabees with Judas again, and it's obviously we're backtracking, it's not moving forward in the second book of Maccabees. We're getting more accounts of what happened in the first one. Is it a whole lot different? With I have no doubt there was more stuff going on. We're just being given what they needed sanctioned by God, right? In a way, right? What they wanted sanctioned, what they wanted people then to know on how that is sanctioned by God, right? But what about all the other stuff that's going on, right? Simultaneously? Well, anyway, it's the same. It's the same today. Yes, yeah. Anywho, but I don't know. We have one lifetime. I'm not going to live in just misery. Yes, I'm going to try and keep teaching. At the same time, look, let people shoot themselves in the foot. Right? Yes, I'm not kidding. Just don't be a part of it. Just step back. Well, Facebook doesn't want me to use the word mules. I guess I'll use donkeys now. Right? Neutered donkeys. Donkeys that can't reproduce. That's what mules are. Anyway. 2,000 donkeys who can't reproduce. Can't say that word, so I have to reword it. I have to make that clear to everyone who reads it, because I guarantee you that the program will not pick that up. Gosh. Well, anyway, maybe tomorrow we'll talk about alpha males and beta males, because I saw another one of that one, and I kind of got into a conversation with someone and say, man, all you have to do is just ask people the right questions, and suddenly, what happens? Anyway, my last part of the question. So now, who is the beta males now? Who are the beta males now? Right? Yes? Yeah. All right. Anyway, we have a lot of very intelligent Lysiuses out there. Yes. Yeah. So, don't be fooled, okay? Yes, Jesus told the same thing to the people. Don't be fooled out there, right? Got your own heart and mind. Everyone has their intelligence out there. This is going on again. All right. Well, anyway, found out when I had the few days of really odd. I kept forgetting things. I couldn't remember what? Huh? Oh yeah, something's going on. No. It ended up not being the friend that I thought of that may be passing away or getting close. It was another friend who I did not know was in a nursing home. I did not know that he was in such bad shape. He didn't recognize people or this or that. Yes. But he passed away, and yes, he needs some prayers. He really does. Yep. And his wife does too. Why would someone that is kind of passing, and the spirit obviously is already kind of detached from the body, right? Well, if your body isn't making the recognition anymore, then your spirit has separated. In a way, it's still there, but if that's possible, then, and I felt that in a way, then there has to be a reason for it. Well, in this particular case, this friend came and helped us out a few times with the animals. And he was a great tracker. He was, I can't remember, he wasn't Cherokee, could have been Creek Indian, but he was, as far as I know, he's probably the most full-blooded, or mostly full-blooded Indian, if not full-blooded. I'm not 100% sure. His name was Brown. And he came, he was a great tracker. He knew the woods better than anybody else that I knew there. And our horses didn't come home. That was many, many years ago. And I called and I said, hey, call Brown. He knows. He knows how to track, and he'll find those animals. And I called him, and he says, I'll be there. I'll come help you out. And he did. He did come. But the animals had come back just before he got there. But then afterwards he came a few times and helped us out with the animals. And that's just something that one doesn't forget. I don't forget that. And yeah, I don't mind putting in a pleading prayer for him and his family. Yes, everybody needs that when you go to spirit world. Don't think we're not there yet. Yes, I'm trying to be perfect, but nobody is there yet, right? Yes, so we do need each other when we pass, and a pleading prayer to our heavenly parent is important. Yes, yeah. One could almost say, okay, I'll vouch for him because he's with someone. Yeah, there's some things, but I vouch for him because he would drop whatever and come and help you out. Yes? Okay. May Heavenly Parent bless and protect you and embrace you with love. And I will talk to you all